got our upper cabinets in. These are actually fastened on the wall. We've got some crown and stuff to put on them, but what we're going to concentrate on now is starting to run the base cabinets. Now we've got some base cabinets sitting here, but these are just sitting here. They're not actually fastened to the wall. There's a reason for that. We haven't leveled them yet. And what we're going to use to level them is what's called the Easy Level system. This is a system that mounts on the bottom of the cabinet, holds about 700 pounds, so you don't have to be worried about granite or anything on it. You put one on the front of the cabinet, one on the back of the cabinet, all four corners. We can actually put our cabinets together in banks of cabinets. And then from the toe kick, you've got a hole that you're going to drill in the toe kick, and you're able to turn the rod here and it drops the foot on the Easy Leveler, and it brings the cabinet up to your level line. That makes it real easy to get your cabinets leveled out. So what we do is we'll take our cabinets, we'll pull them back from the wall, we'll lay them on their backs, we'll fasten them together so we know that they're right the way they need to be. And then we'll turn them upside down and we'll show you how to attach these things. And then we'll go put them back towards the wall, level them out, and fasten them. It's going to go a lot quicker this way. So we've got the cabinets on their backs. We've kind of started screwing them together. A couple things about that. The cabinets aren't completely square. That's normal. Don't let that bother you. Nothing's ever really perfect. We'll give you kind of a case in point here. As we put these things together, we're really kind of worried about this front face. I'm not too worried about the others. If I can get the others dead on, I will. But we've got this front face nice and flush. We laid this other one right on the side on top of this cabinet. And we did the same thing here. We clamped it down, got the face nice and flush, put some screws in it to hold it. While we're working on the face and getting it flush, we noticed that when the face is flush, the cabinet runs out on the bottom here. Now, that's not a big deal because the bottom's not going to be touching the ground anyway. We're going to put these Easy Levels on the bottom and we're going to crank them a little bit, and it's going to actually pick the cabinets up. So this will compensate for any misalignment on the bottom. So we've got these all mounted together as one unit. It's about as big as we can handle. The next thing we'll do is to talk about putting this Easy Level system on there. Let's talk about what you get in the box. You get the box, you get it open, you get these levelers. We've talked about those, you've seen those already. You're going to get long rods, you're going to get short rods. You're going to get a drill locator. It's going to show you where the holes have to go. You're going to get some screws. How does it all go together? Well, if you look at each one of these levelers, on the back side, you're going to see an elongated hole. On the front side, you're going to see two holes. One of them's threaded. So on the front leveler, you're going to take the short rod and you're going to put it in the threaded hole, and you tighten it up till you feel like just kind of tighten, kind of bottom out a little bit. Don't turn it much past there. That starts to deploy the foot. You don't want to do that yet. So just lay it in there, and when it starts to tighten, stop. On the one you're going to put on the back, they're identical. Just choose one. Go in the same threaded hole, but this time use a long rod. Do the same thing. When it tightens, stop. Then you're going to assemble the two of these together. You take the longer rod and you run it through that elongated hole and out through the top hole. Should look about like that. Then you take the whole group, and it's going to mount on the side of the cabinet. And you're going to see that you're going to need a hole in your toe kick to get the rods through, and the rods are going to end up flush with the front. Well, that's where that drill bit comes in. You're going to take your marking device here, you're going to lay it on the front of the toe kick, slide it over till it stops, get the right hole, mark it, and then you take your drill and run this drill bit through it all the way through, and that's the perfect size hole in the right spot. And then the whole thing will go in there and mount right flush to the front, which allows you access to the fronts of these. You can see that they'll accept a drill bit, and that allows you to turn them and deploy the feet, and that levels up your cabinet. So our next step is to locate the holes and drill them out. Okay. What you're looking for is these to be able to come through that hole with no obstructions. They fit pretty darn good in there. So we've got our cabinet bases flipped back over. We've got the leveling system underneath them. Things are getting ready to go here. We're getting close to actually attaching them to the wall. Some of the things we want to think about, how high we're going to put these cabinets. That's where we're going to take the laser and fire it on the wall. There's a couple more things. You'll notice we don't have the cabinets tight to the wall right now. We've just got them about an inch away. And the reason for that is that as we level this cabinet out, if we have to tip it this way to make it level and it's tight to the wall, it's not going to work very well. We've got to give ourselves space to get it level. We'll get it almost completely level, push it back, and then tweak it and check it again. So most of the work is done about 1 inch away from the wall. Next thing we want to think about is we've got to get this sink base in here. The thing about the sink base is we've got mechanicals that have to get inside the sink base. And so we've got holes to cut inside there. To locate those holes, we have to know how far down from the top of the cabinet those are going to be cut. We don't want to measure off the floor. The floor is inconsistent. We also are going to measure off the side of this cabinet. So to get this cabinet in place requires the level to be shot on the wall. And to get this cabinet cut properly requires a line. So our next move is really to turn on the laser and find the high point of these cabinets. One of them should be sitting higher than another. So we get our laser set up, get it about where we need it to be, and we want to start out higher in the cabinets and just start dropping the laser. It really wobbles around when you move it. Just take your time, and it ought to hit somewhere, and we want to be about 1/8 of an inch above the cabinets. If we could be 1/8 of an inch or so off the floor with our tightest cabinet, that's a little bit of an insurance policy. You're going to have a dishwasher in here, you're going to have water going to your sink. Someday something's going to leak, and when it gets on the subfloor, it doesn't really tear it up right away, but the cabinet sides and the cases and boxes are typically built with some of the particle board on the sides. That doesn't react very well with water. This corner cabinet right underneath the window is winning the race. We're going to use that as a starting point. We'll probably jump up about 1/8 of an inch from wherever it is. You can see the corner of the cabinet on the face of it here. It's starting to touch. Don't just look at the wall. Look at the face of them too. And so if I carefully walk over here, we'll see that that line is right on the back corner of this cabinet. I mean, we could conceivably level this cabinet up right here and stick it in there, but we're going to take the laser line, go about 1/8 of an inch above that, and that's where we're going to start. And we'll bring all the cabinets up to that. While the laser is on, I'm going to draw a line on the wall or underneath that window where the sink base goes. And that's going to allow me to measure down. And then we'll start actually leveling this one out and then move it into the corner, and we'll leave the laser on while it's in the corner. We'll check it, make sure it's completely level, and we'll actually leave the laser on while we attach it to the wall. So if the wall twists the cabinet and pulls it out of level, we can see that and we can adjust for it. I'm going to bring the front of this cabinet up and see where we go. Just make real slow movements. I'm going to move over to the other one now. Help it out. Up there. Now our front up here has come up. We'll drop that back down a little bit. Okay, now it's a little bit darker in here so you can see the laser a little bit better. And you can see kind of what we're looking for to find out when the cabinet's level. How do we know? What are the signs? Well, obviously the laser line on the wall, we're depending on that to be perfectly level. And it sounds odd, but you can actually split that line. And that's what we've done. You can see back here, you can see evidence of the laser all across the top of the wood. And yet you can still see it on the wall back here. We've actually split the line. And you can watch all the way across the front of this cabinet as we come up to the front of it. It's all in plane. You can see it again back here where we're hitting. You can see it again across the wall, all the way across the wall. If you want to see in a corner cabinet what's going on towards the back of it, we've just taken a block of wood or something to be able to gauge the back of it. It makes it a little easier for us to work around. As we come across the wall, it's pretty faint, but you can still see it. And the key here is not just seeing it back there, but look back up to the front of the cabinet. See the line across the front of the cabinet? On the front of the cabinet, quite often I'll stick my finger like this, and I'll be able to see the laser on my finger if it's just above the cabinet. And as soon as I can see it just start to show up on the face, I know I'm in pretty good shape. If I can see it on the face and on the wall, I've got that cabinet in plane. And you can check it all along here. We've done just that. Now we're ready to actually fasten this thing in the wall. This cabinet's pretty much set. Now, doing this with the leveling system, I think I messed around with the leveling on this, 3 to 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. If I had to do this with shims, the old wood shims, it'd have been brutal. I mean, getting support and knowing I've got support back in these corners would have been just ridiculous. Trying to slide this cabinet in and not lose support on that dividing member, it's almost impossible. You can't attach the shims to the back because you don't know what position to put them in. You don't know how much overlap to use or how thick they need to be. With this system, you set your cabinet in and then you adjust it up and you know you've got the support and you get it